now I can't see what he's seeing. What is he seeing? I think it needs to be here. Right, because if I have it up here, is it, I won't even see anything, I guess.
Well, you have the video off, but does it matter if...
But he wants to be able to watch it, right?
Like, if the video's off on here, though, couldn't you just have it facing?
Yeah. I'm going to keep the video off.
Yeah.
So just in case.
Just in case.
Okay. But now I just can't see it.
Do you want me to join it?
Yeah.
The problem is I can't see what he's seeing.
This? Oh yeah, totally. He apparently.
You should move it, like, set it up so you can see.
Yeah, it's going.
Okay. For Wi-Fi?
That's just the worst part is you can't tell.
See, I think if we just, because he had it like this, so you could see, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I think it would help if it was lower.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But will he be able to hear it?
Put it close like that.
It's Marie, right? Marie?
Mia.
Yeah, Mia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought it was Marie. This is gonna start going. So if it's annoying, I'm sorry.
What is
It's
a webinar?
Oh. On coaching.
For Josh.
Yeah. Not us. What volume is on? But we're muted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're muted and video is off.
Perfect.
This is us here. Look, no one has their video on.
Perfect. Okay.
Good?
I think so. Yeah, if you want to wait for a second to make sure it starts and go. I'll leave my phone. I'll take my phone. I'll leave my phone here. Because it's hot spotting.
Welcome, coaches. 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, starting on time is a high performance habit. There are going to be people joining late for sure. It's okay. That happens. We'll move along. And let's begin. My name is Shawnee Harley. And I'm putting this up on the screen not to impress you, but to impress upon you that coaching is both an art and a science. What you see on the screen is the science. And in some ways you can be like, whoop, whoop. And I'm like, I know. And sometimes I say whoop, whoop to the science. Because in my opinion, without the art of coaching, the science balls flat. Here's what we'll do. We'll move along. We'll hustle through this 45 minutes. They'll be optional at the end for Q&A. If you want to stay and ask questions, I'll stay on until all questions have been answered. I love chasing squirrels, so there might be some squirrels that appear at the end, and you're more than welcome to stay and chase them with me. Here are some ideas to help you get the most from this next 45 minutes. The first one is really important. There's a great quote that says, "The mind is like a parachute. It functions best when it's open." I think I will be saying some things this evening that you're not going to like. I'm like, good. We want to just come and spend 45 minutes and be bored, and we all just agree with each other, and we sing songs, we hold hands, we light candles and sing Kumbaya. That doesn't interest me. Another important one on this slide is the camera. I invite you to turn your camera on. Here's why. Do you know how sick and tired I get of looking at myself? I already know what I look like. Hello? I would love it if you would turn it on so I have someone else to look at. If you're in your pajamas, great. You're having a glass of wine, great. You're eating dinner, great. You're having a bad hair day, great. Your house is messy, great. Show up as you are. Before we jump into the main message, I think this is a really good place to start. It's a question maybe we don't ask ourselves enough. Would you consider pausing, pondering, and then sharing in the chat? And I'm going to do the same. Someone beat me in there. Patrick, dang it, you got in there before me. Oh, these are good. Want to be a positive voice? Oh, nice. Elizabeth, I feel that. Back to the game. Provide my kids an opportunity. Yep. Develop, enjoy, camaraderie. Wow, sport brings all these things, doesn't it? Okay, great. Yes, Jeff, I get it. Me too. So, coaches, this is what I want us to consider. It's like we know why we started for really important reasons, but then this. I believe that every coach starts with a really strong why. And I wonder if we lose it along the way. What is happening in youth sport is not good. We are losing athletes at an alarming rate. The time you're going to do it again, and we're going to call them suicides. Seems a little outdated to me. Here's the other thing that's happening. Not only do we have outdated coaching methods, we have a generation that knows so much. They have access to almost anything. They're learning things in school that we didn't learn. They know what's okay. They know what isn't okay. Here's this next slide that I don't like, and I'm trying to have an open mind about it, but I can tell you right now I already don't like it. So I'm talking about all of these coaching methods. Here's the truth. I was a head coach at one of the most successful university programs in Canada. I led the league one year in technical fouls, and I was one technical away from being suspended, and I was proud of it. I didn't know it then, but damn, I had a limited toolkit. And frick, I loved to hammer. And when I look back, this is what hits me time and time again. I asked you what your why was, and then I said to myself, Shawnee, why didn't you ask yourself that? And this is one of the reasons. When our ego gets in the way, fear starts driving the bus. I had lots of fears, and I didn't know it. Another thing that got in the way was this. Forgot all these things. My ego and the scoreboard spoke loudly. But here's the thing. I thought I was doing it the way I was supposed to. I was doing it the way I had been taught. I was coaching the way I had been coached. And I was coached by the most winningest coach in university women's basketball. So I'm like, oh, this must be the way to do it. I didn't know how to grow courageous athletes. And that's why I invited you to this webinar. I did not know how to be a good gardener. So now I've shared my mistakes. The next part is I want to share my learnings. I use this analogy of a garden because I think it's a good one. So there it is, there's your garden. And you planted the seeds. And look at that. Aww. Your little athletes are growing. Look at that. Different shapes and sizes. Some grow quickly, some are a little slower. There's your little garden. Guess what? There will be much thunder and lightning. It's not just rainbows and sunshine. And I got thinking about this analogy, and I got thinking about these storms. And I talk to athletes every day, and here's what I've learned from them. They're in storms every day. And most of them are emotional. In my opinion, these are the things that they don't know how to handle. They can figure out how to do the footwork for a jump shot, or how to find a top corner in hockey shooting the puck. But holy cows, they have no idea how to handle these emotional storms. And then I got thinking about this. I'm like, okay, all these storms, all these feelings, And it begs this question. Where do the storms come from? Well, let's explore. And this might be the part you don't like. Have you ever considered if you are the one bringing the thunder and lightning? And if it isn't you, because you're like, no, I'm a freaking awesome gardener. I'm like, keep doing that. Have you seen others that are bringing the thunder and lightning? And I ask athletes, what does thunder and lightning feel like? What does your coach do? And this is what they tell me. And you have to know that when these things are going on, they read your face, they read your body language, and boy, oh boy, do they ever hear the tone. And while I'm thinking of it, an outdated coaching method is this. Listen to the message, block out the tone. That's an outdated coaching method. Athletes are not able to do that. How do these storms show up? Everybody thinks it's mistakes. That mistakes are not the storm. Are they going to get yelled at? Getting benched is not the storm. Neither is losing. And neither is failure. The storm is what gets said, what gets done. That is what creates the nerves, the worry, the fear, the self-doubt, the lack of confidence, the sadness, the disappointment, the self-doubt. And this is what happens to your garden. That's what starts growing in it. If you want a slide to take a screenshot of, this is a really good one. There's one more bullet coming. The prefrontal cortex is where all the logic and reasoning takes place. And by the way, it's not fully developed till early 20s. And in boys, it often doesn't finish developing till the age of 25. Do you remember I said earlier, block out the tone, listen to the message? The reason they can't do that is the tone creates the fear. Prefrontal cortex deactivates. They can't hear the message. This is the cost. This is the cost of outdated coaching methods. So let's pause. Man, I can think of about 10 things I'm going to write right away that I used to say. Can you think of something that you say or do now that you've seen these slides that are like, ooh, yeah, that could be some thunder and lightning? And if you'd share it in the chat, I would love that because I'm going to go in there. So I'm putting my favorite one. We just worked on that in practice! That's my favorite. That's what I used to say a lot. This was another one. This is basketball. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth, for being vulnerable and putting that in there. Yes, Al, good. Yep, limiting playing time. Get to the bench. Yes! Oh man, I've done all these times 100. Okay. And if you can't think of something for, what else do you hear around you? Because you're all in gyms, you're in rinks, you're on the field, you're in pools. What do you hear out there that it's like, oh boom, that was some thunder and lightning? Sighing and sighing out loud, critiquing. I'll tell you another thing, athletes really notice your eyebrows. They notice what your eyebrows do. Oh, side comments, really good. F-bombs. Oh, I forgot to put that in there for me. That was also one of my favorites. Yep, dropping our head. They see our nonverbal body language. Swearing out loudly. I've heard hockey coaches with 7-year-olds using F-bombs. Yep, boys hockey coaches. What else you got, people? Oh, this is one. This was one. Get on the line! And then I would make them run. Because I love to yell. We're going to talk about the definition of yelling as we go along. Get up! And if running didn't work, then I just yelled louder. And if that didn't work, we just ran some, like, I look back and I'm like, wow, I had a really good tool in my toolkit. It was called a hammer. I didn't have any screwdrivers. Huh. Oh, Jenny, that's a good one. Yep, really good one. All right. So, coaches, we're all in this together, right? We've all done this. We've all been the thunder and lightning. Okay. Well, let's shift from problem to solution. These are the things that I wish somebody had taught me, or even just mentioned, or had a YouTube video. No, they didn't have YouTube videos back then. When I would go to a coaching clinic, I never, in my 27 years of coaching, I never once had an opportunity to go to professional development that taught soft skills. Emotional regulation, anger management, what to do with your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, how to handle fear, conflict resolution. Never. But holy cows, you should have seen how many coaches clinics I went to try to improve my offense. So I have some ideas about how we can water our garden and stop having it wilt, start having it thrive. And this is what I think has to happen. If you want courageous athletes, I'll tell you why I believe this. I mentioned that I work with athletes almost daily. And you know what? I can come in and spend time with them, and I can coach them up to the nth degree. And I give them like my most deepest wisdom. I could be like, boom, let's go. Get your cape on, fly. And all it takes is them showing up at practice and one piece of thunder and lightning from the coach or a parent, and all of that time I spent coaching up just goes poof. Because the truth is, we have, you may want to write this down or take a note because it's not in here, but I just thought of it. We all have two voices. We have the voice of fear and we have the voice of courage. And the voice of fear always speaks first, and it's very, very bossy. And remember what I said is, if we want our garden to grow, we have to decrease the thunder and lightning. And then I've heard coaches say, well, why can't they grow anyways? Why can't they be more resilient to the thunder and lightning? Like, that's a dang good question. But the truth is, remember when our prefrontal cortex is deactivated, when fear is high, courage doesn't stand a chance. So what can we do to decrease fear? Instead of saying, just get out there and be confident. Fake it till you make it. You got this. None of that works. We don't get to be the thunder and lightning for free. There's a cost. Could we try doing it less? I didn't say never. I just said less. What could we do instead? Because the truth is, as coaches, we spend a lot of time talking. There was a study done. Oh, dang, I should have put that in here. But I just thought of it. There was a coaching study done on coaching behaviors. And this is what the study showed. Of all the time we spend coaching, all the things that we're doing, we're running drills, we're having timeouts, we're pre-game talk, post-game timeouts, etc., only 7% of coaching behavior involves asking questions. 7%. We don't ask questions. We tell, we yell, we lecture. Here's what we miss out on. Don't you want your athletes to see themselves better? This is another good slide to take a screenshot of. There's 2 more bullets coming in there. Athletes have become really lazy thinkers. Really lazy thinkers. Guess why? Robots and puppets don't have to think. It's so interesting when I get a new client and they come in and they're an athlete, and I'll ask them a question that where they have to go inside and they have to go, They don't know how. They're waiting for me to tell them the answer. And this is what I do. I sit there and ask a question, and then I wait. And then I wait a little bit longer. And then I wait a little bit longer. And then sometimes I say this, do you need a hint? And then I ask them, what's happening? And they said, well, our coaches, if they ask us a question, we only have to wait about 3 seconds, and then the coach answers it for us. So they learn to be lazy thinkers. They don't have to self-reflect. They don't have to go inside. They don't have to problem solve. Oh, I like this. Goals are what we do. Values are who we are. And I'm going to connect this back to when I asked you at the beginning, why did you coach in the first place? Do we measure the things that we value? I never did. Ever. My measurement was the scoreboard and the stat sheet. What if we could help our athletes in the next competition show up with their values? You know what I ask athletes, Adam? So what are your values? They're like, what? They didn't even know what that word means. They don't know how to answer the question, but I ask them if I ask them what their goals are, they can tell me. I want to score this many goals. I want to get a scholarship. I want to be in the starting lineup. I want to be on the all-star team. All those things are out of their control, by the way. They don't know what their values are. I think we do as coaches. But if they're values and we value them, how come we don't measure them? I love this. I ask coaches, would you like to have courageous athletes, independent thinkers, ones that have the courage to take risks and try hard things? And they're all like, yeah. And I'm like, then why don't you have that? What's the disconnect? This is part of it. We punish mistakes. We don't encourage them. I can remember figuring this out. This is late, after I finished coaching and after I finished elite coaching. My grandpa used to say, so soon old, so late smart. I'm like, Grandpa, what are you talking about? I'm so smart. Now that I'm old, I'm like, damn, Grandpa, you nailed it. When I used to run one of my basketball camps, in the first 10 minutes of the camp, I said to the kids, you have to try a shot that's so difficult it causes you to shoot an air ball. So we celebrated hard things. We celebrated discomfort. We rewarded risks. If there's nothing you do with this workshop after it's done, except this, if you went and asked your athletes, you could send them a text, you can go in your group chat, your Snap thing, your next practice, whatever it is, and you ask this. And if you don't like greatest self, change it to something you like better. So what we're asking for is, how can I help you show up with courage? How can I help you be great? What should I stop saying? What should I start saying? Is there something that really bothers you when I do it that I should do it less? What's something that when I do it or say it is super helpful that I should do more of? I don't think I ever asked any of those questions. So let's get some thoughts in the chat about how we can start watering our garden. Can you think of some things that would be the opposite of thunder and lightning? What else could we throw in? How could we add fertilizer to our garden? Oh, I like this one. Oops. So I put a question in there, so I'm combining two of the slides. I put a question in, remember I said, ask more questions for self-reflection, and what I'm saying to myself is less telling and more asking. Less telling, more asking. Start saying, how did that feel to you? It's a good question. You're using one of my favorite F words, feelings. I like it, Laura. You may even want to find, Laura, just some simple way to, what if you just took a drill, any drill that you do, and you said the only way that you can score a point in this drill is to take a risk. And then have 3 ways that they can demonstrate what a risk is. So again, we're looking for proof and evidence. What if you had a drill that said the only way that you can win this drill is by being courageous? Here's 3 ways that you can be courageous, and if you show one of these 3, your team gets a point. You know, as we're thinking about this, I would ask you to consider, in your pre-game and your post-game, how much of the time is spent with you talking? You giving the game analysis, or you lecturing, or you yelling if you lost? And if at the end of it I was standing outside the locker room, and this is your pre-game talk, and I was standing outside of the locker room, and your athletes came out of the locker room and I had them take a quiz. What are the things that you remember that your coach said? It would be interesting to see what they would say. We tend to, when we talk too much, we get into, we're putting cognitive overload on our athletes. Too many things, too much information, and then they just sit there like robots and puppets, nodding their head, and then they go out and they don't execute. So when I said for me, less telling and more asking, how could we take this into timeouts, into pregame, into postgame? Allison, I would say get clear on what's proof and evidence of effort. How do they demonstrate effort? How do they demonstrate risks? Because remember, we're trying to measure something. So they have to be able to show proof and evidence. Oh, I can help them be better pitchers, better teammates, and better people. Jeff, it would be really interesting what they say. I think those are great questions. You might actually, if you ask that question, they might be like, oh my goodness, what's he talking about? And you know what else athletes tell me? Sometimes when my coach asks me a question, I think they're asking me a trick question. So they're like, oh, coach is trying to trick me. Or they give you the answer that they think you want to hear. So again, that's why this is an art and not a science. Elizabeth, I love that. Elizabeth, this is what you might want to add. What are your strong points and what are your weak points? And then you might say, and how do you know? You can just go one level deeper with the question. And then you might say, how do your strong points show up? Like, what should I look for? What do your strong points look like? What do your weak points look like? Again, we're trying to get them to dial in. We're trying to get them to self-reflect. We're trying to help them know themselves better. Good. Kristen, what I don't know, because I don't know the athletes that you're working with, but one of the things, this is for all of us, that athletes tell me, and this is my words, we use a lot of coach speak, and they don't know, like resilient. A lot of athletes, when I bring them on phone, I'll bring them on a Zoom call, they don't know, they've heard resilient, but they don't really know what it means. And if they don't know what it means, they don't know how to demonstrate it. They don't know how to show you proof and evidence of it. Heart and hustle reward, good. Jenny, again, you might be able to say, we gave a heart and hustle reward today, and we used these 3 criteria to measure it. Oh, that's good. Identify the thing they avoid. Leo, what's really good about that is you're making them look at another F word, fear. We only avoid things that we fear. So you're actually getting to face their fear. Oh, 2 F words. Oh, rate themselves, like it. Anytime they have to rate themselves, that's self-reflection. What worked and what didn't. Mike, and what I would add, what worked and what didn't, and then saying, if you had a do-over, what would you have done differently? So again, we're just drilling. Think about it like an onion. You ask a question, you peel that layer. Then peel the layer, and peel the layer. cool if we could just be freaking butt-kicking awesome gardeners. It's hard, isn't it? Is there anything harder than coaching? Yes. There are things as hard. We're coaching in a time of difficulty that is unprecedented. We have a really difficult job, and most of us are volunteers. Huh. Your athletes are your garden. Pay attention. Notice. Are they growing? Are they wilting? If they're wilting, whose job is it to help them grow? If they're growing, whose job is it to help them keep growing? We're looking for the right amount, aren't we? There's such a thing as too much. There's such a thing as too little. Where's that sweet spot? Just right. That's why it's an art. I think we have not only an opportunity, I think we have a responsibility. What if we don't have any gardens anymore? What if 70% keep quitting? Those of us that coach girls, those of you that have daughters in sport, what if they quit early? Then what? You know what? I am a huge fan of winning. Like if you have a choice, do you want to win or lose? Hello. Of course. I love trophies. I love medals. I love the podium. I love winning. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this is the truth, isn't it? Don't we want our athletes to stand tall and proud on the podium of life? That takes us back to our why, doesn't it? I'm not spending any time here. You already have it in your email. I'm on social media. I'm even on TikTok because I'm fancy like that. TikTok. Holy cows. What a world. I'm not spending time here. You saw this at the beginning. There's a link at the very, very top of the chat. Boss of Your Thoughts, April. August 24th. So speaking of gardening, it's time to do the Q&A. And remember, oh my goodness, I'm ahead of schedule. Come on. We're early. Love it when that happens. Now, I mentioned the Q&A is optional, and I mean that. So here's how you can do it. You can be like, you know what? I don't want to get my hands dirty. I don't feel like digging in. I have everything I need. I'm done. And then be done and leave. Or you can be, well, I'll stay in for a bit, and then I'll leave. It's all good. I'm not going to make you run if you don't do the Q&A. I'm not going to yell. I'll be like, hey, you want to come in and chase squirrels with me? Come on and chase squirrels. And feel free to leave at any time without judgment. Okay, so if you're staying, would you put something that maybe smacked you, hit you, or was a light bulb? Would you put it in the chat? And I'm going to stop my screen share. I think there's question in there already. Wow. Leah, you were first with the question. Here's how we'll do it. Go ahead and put a question in the chat. You can also use that, the raise hand emoji that's in Zoom. You can do that. You can go like this and flag me down. And you can even do this. Maybe you have a question like, I want to ask Shawnee a question, but I don't want anyone else to know I asked it. I'm like, that's fine. Send it directly to me, and the only person who will know you asked it is me. So, I'm looking, hang on, where did we use it? Oh, I see it. Values are important. How do we introduce this aspect to young athletes? Great question. Okay, let me just, desired outcomes, how do you do that? Okay. You might want to change the word and not even use that word. You might want to say this, because values, right, it's an adult word. We're doing adult speak again. Blah, 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 blah. What you could consider is saying, when you show up for your sport, what are 3 things that you do or say that makes you proud of yourself? So see how I just change it? I change it to something that might be more understandable. And then they're going to give you some answers, and then you become the guide, right? You become the guide on the side instead of the sage on the stage. It'd be like, so they might say some things like, I'm really proud of myself when I get chosen for the All-Star team. That's not, so they're going to goals. And then you could say, are there anything that happened that you did that made you proud of yourself that helped you get chosen for the All-Star team? So see, I just keep bringing it back so that we can identify goals are what we do, values are who we are. So perhaps it's just changing and not using the word value. Lee, if there's anything else you want from that, just pop it in the chat or use your little raise. Okay, Elizabeth. Oh, anger issues. Oh. Okay, I have to think about how to answer this succinctly. Not one of my strengths, by the way. So Elizabeth, this is what, let's just say that if that athlete came on a call with me, this is how I would do it in my brain. I'd be like, I would say something to him, was it him? Yes. I would say something like, tell me some things that happen, I'm not sure of the sport, but when you're practicing or playing that make you angry. So I'm helping him face his feeling of anger. I don't know what he might say, but he'll say X. These things make me feel angry. And then my next question would be, why? That would be my next question. Why? Because can you see that so much of what we're trying to do is change behavior in a good way? But to change behavior, we can't address the behavior. We have to go underneath and see what's driving it. So Elizabeth, until I understand what's driving his anger, I cannot help him solve the problem because I'll just be addressing the symptoms. So I would say, tell me some things that make you angry, and then he would say why. And Elizabeth, what I don't know for sure, but some experiences that I've had with athletes that are angry, it's actually not the right word. But it's the only word they have. What actually is happening is they're embarrassed. It's like, mistakes make me so mad. I hate it when I miss an easy shot. But actually what's underneath that is They're worried about what they think people are thinking. They worry about what people are saying. They're worrying about getting judged. So this is the digging. This is the art. Elizabeth, this is the digging. What makes you angry and why? And then help him figure out why. Because as soon as he figures out why it makes him angry, now you can help him solve the right problem. Elizabeth, go ahead and put more in the chat if I can help you dig deeper in there. And I don't think it was necessarily that you neglected others. I think that you were maybe trying to water, but you didn't know how much water was in your can. Now maybe this helps you water a little more efficiently and still pay attention to your other athletes. Elizabeth, I just thought of this. I actually had this happen with an athlete in one of the basketball camps that I was running. Zero emotional regulation and just blowing up, losing it, hissing fit meltdown right on the middle of the court. And so I stopped. They were playing a little scrimmage, and I stopped the game. And I blew the whistle, and I brought everybody on the court in, and I said, anger is normal. We all feel it. And then I said to this athlete, this must be really hard right now. Come on over with me, and we're going to go sit over here. So I said to him, it's okay. Let's go sit over here, and you tell me when you don't feel angry anymore, and then you get to come back into the game. I don't know if that was good or bad, right? There's 9 ways to skin a cat. Use the one that's most effective. So, Leah, or Elizabeth, that's some other options for you to help this athlete with this anger. Okay, where am I? Oh. Jenny, how to manage the tough kid who's either disruptive or won't participate. Ooh, this is so good. Oh boy. Okay, just a second. I got it. Where I went with this, when I listened to what I said in my head, Jenny, when I read your question, and this is the word that came to me, boundaries. That was the word that popped into my mind, was boundaries. And what you can do is something like this. You can talk to the team, and you can say, here are some things. No, you can even ask them, when your greatest self shows up in our practices, what does she look like, or he look like, or sound like? So they've got a list of all of the positive behaviors. And then you say, and you know what, we don't always show up as our greatest self, do we? And then you say, you know what, I don't even show up as my greatest self all the time. When we're not being our greatest self, what does she look like, sound like, feel like? So then you've got this list over here, and then you say, I know, sport's hard sometimes. And then you say, okay, and you can say, team, here's what I'm going to do. When you're having a day where you're showing up as not your greatest self, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stop the drill, and I'm going to say, whoever your name is, and I'm going to be like, oh, remember that list that we came up with? It seems like you're over in the not greatest self list. And then you say, and then I'm going to just ask you to step off the court. I don't know what your sport is. And you have to have him come, you have to go and have a seat. And you get to come and tell me when you can say, you know what, coach, I'm ready to go back in and show up as my greatest self. So Jenny, we identify greatest self behaviors, not greatest self behaviors. When not greatest self behaviors show up, this is how I'm going to keep you accountable. So we're setting boundaries. We take them out of the drill because it is not okay to be disruptive. We take them out of the drill. And then, Jenny, did you see what I did? I hope I just gave them the mirror. And I said, I showed them the mirror. Here's your disruptive. not greatest self behavior. Take yourself out. And then what I want to do is I want to give them the opportunity to save themselves. As soon as you're ready to come back in as your greatest self, you come in and tell me, and you're going to go right back in. Isn't that what we would want? Wouldn't we want our athletes to be able to save themselves? Not very many can do it because they're robots and puppets. Jenny, if you have anything else you want me to add, just pop it into the chat. Jeff, before I get to your question, I can see Elizabeth came in and I want to finish but keep going. He's playing with people worse than him. Yeah. Okay, that isn't the problem. I'm telling you right now, that isn't what it is. What's happening with him is he's playing with people worse than him, and what he is interpreting is they're making me look bad. But he wouldn't be able to probably verbalize that because he's probably got a 13-year-old boy brain. I don't know how old this athlete is, but his ability to be rational is very low. So it isn't that he's playing with worse players. It's the worst players are making him look bad. I'm going to go one layer deeper. This is fear of people's opinions, FOPO, F-O-P-O. Fear of looking bad. If I look bad, what are people going to think about me playing with these bad players? And there's another layer in there of FOPO. Who else's opinion do we fear? Our own. Our own. Elizabeth, my guess is this athlete also has very high negative self-talk, which is just another way of saying a lot of self-judgment. So he's playing with bad players. It makes him look bad. Ego comes in. Now he's worried. What are all of these people thinking? And then he's probably saying, this is ridiculous. So where does that go with his narrative? This is another thing that comes in, Elizabeth, is self-esteem and self-worth. I don't want to play with bad players because they make me look bad. Players with high self-esteem and high self-worth don't go there. They're like, I'll play with anyone, anytime, anywhere. This is how I roll. All of you people are out of my control. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the best that I can. Okay, Elizabeth, hopefully I gave you a few more things to ponder as you're working with this athlete. And none of it's easy, by the way. Okay, where am I? Coming back to Jenny. Embarrassment. Placed on a team with less skill. All right, I'm going back to Jeff. A tendency for girls to become more negative as they age. Okay. Jeff, I'm going to change the word because remember, words have power. And I will tell you my experience. I coach a ton of girls in this age group. And I'm going to change the word from negative to judgmental. Those are different. Those are different words. Negative self-talk, if you listen to what they say about themselves, it is self-judgment. Why do we go to self-judgment? Because then I can just lower the bar. I don't have to expect very much of myself if I tell myself how much I suck. I lower the bar. I play it safe so that if I fail, I'll be like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Self-judgment, negative self-talk are defense mechanisms. What's the purpose of a defense mechanism? To protect. Protect what? We're protecting our self-esteem. So I can make it okay when I fail. I can make it okay when I suck. because I already told myself I suck. Okay, antidote. So now we want to do the opposite. They're stuck in self-judgment, known as negative self-talk, negativity. They're judging themselves. The opposite of judgment is forgiveness. Another F word. Judgment is jail, forgiveness is freedom. Every single athlete I work with, this is one of the very first concepts that I start with, because they are all in self-judgment. They are all in negative self-talk. And guess what? It's a learned behavior, because they've been pounded with thunder and lightning every time they've made a mistake, every time they've lost, every time they failed, every time they've underperformed. They're showing you a learned behavior. This is what I teach. I'm like, okay. I say to an athlete, tell me something that you say to yourself when you lose, fail, make a mistake, or underperform. Tell me what you say. And then they say the things. I'm like, yeah, great. And then I ask them this, does it make you play better or worse? Guess what they say? It makes me play worse. I'm like, no kidding. Hello. Stop doing it. It's not good advice. Stop doing it. We have to go deeper. So this is what I teach them. You can have, I'm going to give you 2 tools here. Curious, not furious. When you make a mistake, you can do this. Huh, that was interesting. I do this when I play pickleball. I make a lot of mistakes. Oh, it's so frustrating. And I practice my mental toughness tools. And I make a mistake, and this is what I'll do. I'll be like, that was interesting. I get curious.
Well,
but here's what works best for me. I make a mistake.
What's happening here?
And this is what I used to do. In pickleball, you have a weapon. It's called a paddle. And when I made a mistake in pickleball, I would do this. I'd smack myself on the leg with my paddle, and I'd F-bomb. And then finally one day I said, Shawnee, you're a mental toughness coach. And people you're playing with, they know you're a mental toughness coach, and you're behaving like this.
Yeah. Too much volleyball.
This is what I started practicing. The opposite of judgment, because I learned judgment. I learned to be hard on myself. I thought that was what I'm supposed to do.
My ankle. That's what at first my knee didn't bother me, but now they think I have a sprain.
I make a mistake and I go,
that's waiting for an ultrasound to confirm. So yeah, no, sorry.
Did you hear that?
It's better now
That's
than
okay.
it was. It was pretty painful.
I didn't say I had to like it. That's
So
okay.
you get your old buggy.
And then I do this. I coach myself. That's okay. Get to higher next time. That's okay. Serve it deeper next time. That's okay. Take a different angle next time. That's freedom. When I smack myself on the leg and I F-bomb, that is jail. Guess where I play my best pickleball? When I'm not in jail. So Jeff, if you can help your athletes see that negativity is self-judgment, it pokes holes in our self-esteem, it pokes holes in our self-worth. There is a cost, and they don't get to do that for free. It keeps them in jail. What could forgiveness look like? And coaches model it. When you make a mistake, say, hey, that's okay. What coaching tip would you give to yourself? How would you fix that next time? Jeff, if you have more that you want from that, put it in the chat. Oh, Ryan. I don't know if Ryan's still in here. Doesn't matter. I just answered that. Oh, and I will tell you this. I get an athlete on a Zoom call, and we're talking about this negative self-talk, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. I'm like, I'll say this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard are you on yourself? And they're like, well, like an 8 or a 9. And I can tell they're proud of it. I'll ask coaches to be like, yeah, My athletes are really hard on themselves, and I can tell they're proud of it. Parents will be like, "Oh, my kids are really hard on themselves." And I'm like, "Don't be proud of that. I've been doing this long, and I'm telling you, the cost